This is Ray Carsillo for 1050 ESPN, 1050ESPN.com, and I am with one of the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman. I can't believe it. He's actually here, dude. First off, welcome to New York, man.
Thank you so much.
Dude, how does it feel to come here and you see all these different kinds of people, and you got older Turtle fans, you got younger Turtle fans, and dude, can you believe it's been 25 years?
It is, you know, one, it's astonishing it's been 25 years, and it's really beyond an honor and respect, and my great privilege that we've had so many wonderful fans over the years that have given me such a great life and allowed me to fulfill a lifelong childhood dream of writing and drawing and telling my own comic stories. But to have it go from the self-publishing and doing the comics we did to reach all the heights and to go all the different places that it's gone, it's really a lot of times seemed like I was living in a dream world, and it's quite an honor.
Did you ever think, like when this all started, like 25 years ago, that it would get to this point? I mean, you guys I'll get to the fifth movie in a second, but did you ever think it would get there?
No, absolutely not. I mean, when we started the first comic book, it was a great idea, spawned out of love of Peter and I, love of like artists like Jack Kirby and legends in the comic industry that inspired us to write and draw and tell our own story. And when we came up with the idea of the Turtles, this was our sort of one-time joke that we're going to go like, this is going to be fun. We hopefully won't embarrass our parents too much, and we had a great time doing it. And I think that maybe, or I guess I think that our love of wanting to tell a great story with these characters that we love so much of our own creation, that it resonated with fans, and it just, again, I can't say enough. It's astonishing that it's continued to carry on as to this date. I mean, 25 years, dude. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So.
Now, of course, one of the best things about Turtles is it's permeated every medium: action figures, TV, comic books, movies, and of course now a fifth movie was just announced today. How did that come about that you guys said, we got to make another movie and another live-action movie?
Well, you know, what's interesting is, again, when we did the first comic book, we'd only envisioned it as a comic book. We wrote and drew the first issue exactly for ourselves and only for ourselves. We wrote and drew the kind of story that we'd like to read if we went into a comic store and bought it. But the fact that it seemed to have a bit of life beyond comic books, that when we started working on the animated TV series and the toy line and those kind of things, that it seemed to easily fit into that mold, although we changed a number of things, you know, softening up a number of the violent issues and those kind of things, but it seemed to easily adapt into different genres or different mediums, rather, for a much younger audience. And I remember when, you know, we first got to work with Steve Barron on the film, you know, we'd had a #1 rated cartoon show, and we had this toy line, and it was great, and all the people around us, especially, you know, the licensing agents and all that stuff, were in a panic that this movie has to work, because if this movie doesn't work, it's going to kill the whole franchise. And Pete and I were like, we're already so far beyond our every wildest dream we've ever had. If the movie works, great. If it doesn't, then, well, we go back to drawing comics, and we're happy with that. But fortunately, we got to work with an artist and a director like Steve Barron, who took the impossibility of taking I guess a 2D format, 2D comics and animation, and to bring in Jim Henson's Creature Shop and make a live-action feature that had these guys in rubber suits be able to act and emote and make people believe that they were real, is to his credit. And you know, we're friends to this day, and it was a privilege to work with him back in the day. So.
Now, one of the things about the first movie was that it was for those of people who were introduced to the series through the cartoon or the toy line, they thought the first movie might be a little dark. But of course, it's really truer to the comic book was the first movie. So how do you find that happy medium to try and appease everybody who some people came in later, a little bit later, and the people who were there from the beginning?
Well, that's an interesting and great question, is because, you know, when we did the comic book, the original black and white comic, it was much darker, much edgier, and written sort of for a different, older audience. And when we worked on the TV series, that was definitely written way down for a much younger audience, a 6-year-old and up. And then, to Steve's credit, that he really, when he came in, he did the overview, looked at the entire Turtle franchise, I guess, for lack of a better term, is that he said, we need to find something right in the middle, kind of akin to you know, like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons that had the jokes and the intelligence of a story that appealed to adults, but it still had all the antics and all the true to the character stuff that worked for kids. And he nailed it, you know, 100%. And that was, I think, that really helped to the success. You know, nothing worse, especially as a parent now, going to a kids movie. There's nothing worse than sitting through an experience of being like, oh my God, will this movie ever end? Well, the kid's loving it, but, you know, to have something that appeals to both older and younger audiences is pretty amazing. So.
Now, of course, you just announced today the fifth movie, but there's two characters that have never been in the films that people have kind of been clamoring for, Bebop and Rocksteady. Is there any hope that maybe, possibly, we could see them in this new movie?
It's a good question. You have to ask Peter Laird. I mean, I sold my creative rights to Peter many, many years ago. I own Heavy Metal Magazine. I've been working on a number of heavy metal projects, but Peter's really been running the creative for the last couple of years on the Turtles and doing an amazing job. But I know that going back to the second Turtles film, that we wanted to bring in characters like Bebop and Rocksteady, but maybe create something new that wasn't as silly as they were in the cartoon. Give them a bit of an edge. But unfortunately, I think they turned out a little too silly in the film. But I know that fans are clamoring for those two characters. I'd love to see them brought to life in a way that sort of pays them homage and respect and tells a great story as well. So we'll see where it falls out. So.
Now, one of the interesting things about the movies as well is that each movie had a different director. How was it each movie to work with somebody different each time?
Well, it was kind of frustrating only as a creative, as a creator and as an artist and I guess visionary, that we fell in love with Steve and his vision and his sincerity. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met, and he really has a wonderful vision and a wonderful sensibility for storytelling. And when we started working on the second film with Stuart, it was sort of like, it seemed like a whole different universe, a whole different animal, and sort of we had to retrain and try to bring somebody else up to speed on sort of three like minds. And it had its pluses and its minuses, but it's it overall it worked to a certain effect. We were happy with. I would say this, that the best movie done, the best movie adaptation of the Turtles was the first movie, hands down, and we were proud to work with the other directors. But I'd love to see Steve honestly brought back into one of the newer versions. So.
Very cool. Now, of course, you also have a new video game coming out later this year.
Yes.
TMNT Smash Up. Are you at all?
Oh my God! Sorry.
I'm sorry. I had to bust.
Oh, it's all right. It's all good. How you doing?
He's producing the new movie.
Oh, come on, then come over here. Hey, how you doing?
Look at him, a beer.
I like this. I like this.
Yeah, I look like a crazy bastard. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all gonna go on the internet, so there's no censorship or all that other stuff.
Okay.
It's all good.
We're all happy people here in America. I haven't been trained. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw him and I was so excited.
It's all
One of my favorite people.
No, and vice versa. No, it's like
No, I'll let you finish.
actually, just so you don't know, Galen was one of the main producers. And I consider the guy that was responsible for making the animated Turtle movie as beautiful and as amazing as it was, and he deserves all the respect and credit for that.
We're really going to do it this time. Really going to do it this time, because this is the guy. Hey, I'm so glad you made it, bro.
Nice to see you.
I'll be over here with Holly, okay?
Okay, I'll see you soon. All right, cheers.
always an honor.
Honestly, he's an amazing. When they started work on the animated Turtle movie, Galen came in and was sort of still cutting teeth in the movie business, but he sort of such a quick study and such an amazing person. He really he grasped the story, much like Steve Barron. He really wanted to bring the characters back to their roots, back to the respectability that was seen in the first movie. And I'm so excited that he's going to be producing the new Turtle movie, and which I know we're going to talk about anyway, so it's cool.
Yes. Very cool. Well, going back a little bit, I was going to talk about the video game. What do you think about now all the way the Turtles have, what they can do now with these video games to really bring the Turtles into into their people's homes in a way that never could happen before? Well,
it's astonishing. I just remember, like, back in the early days of the conception of the Turtles, we were still playing Asteroid and Space Invaders and things like that. And I remember when when Konami came on board and Nintendo, when we did the first Turtles video game, the arcade, the 4-player, that was like, I think the Turtles and X-Men were the first ones to have this 4-player arcade version. And every incantation of the Turtles in the video game world, fortunately, it's been able to, we're getting so lucky to have characters that can be applied to this new technology in a better and better way, whether it's, the Jim Henson Creature Shop, animatronics to bring the first Turtle movie to life, to the latest cutting-edge technology for video games. Again, much like, being a big geek and a big fan of, like, every X-Men movie and, superhero movie that's coming out today, it's like now is our time that we can actually tell those kind of movies the way we envisioned them when we read the comics when we were a kid, and that's it's good for all of us, man. Seriously. So.
All right, final question.
Sure.
If you had to put it hands down, who's your favorite Turtle?
Oh, without a doubt, Raphael.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like Raphael. Each character we design like a group of kids you might see in a schoolyard. You have the leader type, you've got Leonardo, you've got the hothead, which the guy that you don't like as much as you probably should, but he's the guy you always want on your side in a fight, which is Raphael. You get the guy that always cracks the jokes at the wrong time or the right time, Michelangelo, and then the geeky guy that's sort of the Donatello character. But it's like anytime I've ever sort of drifted off from wanting to tell a full 4-turtle character story and doing just a single turtle adventure, I've always gone to Raphael and partnered with Casey Jones. They're fun to write, and I can relate to them probably the most out of all of them. So,
Kevin, thank you very much, sir.
very nice to meet
You too. Take it easy.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's it. It's Kevin Eastman here at Tribeca. This is great. New Turtle movie. Yes.